Hello, hello, hello. Z Marie here, and welcome to my channel. I'm happy to have you join me. I am talking today about dating in the 60s. But if this is the first time on my channel, I am Z Marie. Yes, I am in the 60s, in my 60s. And I decided to start this channel for women in their 60s or older, or really any age, but primarily that's my tribe. And basically, I wanted to just talk about my faith. I wanted to talk about love in the 60s or in your 60s and our general lifestyle. I mean, life in the 60s is okay. It's the new 30s. But no, it's really okay. And I just wanted to encourage and motivate and uplift anyone that's in that age range that might be struggling with it or approaching that age range and might be just a little concerned. It's okay. Trust me. I feel like for me this year, mostly, I am just beginning to embark on some of the most exciting things in my life. So that's pretty cool. But welcome to my channel. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I promise you I will have some interesting content for you. So thanks again for coming. So tonight's topic, today, this morning, this afternoon, based on when you're watching and where you are, I wanted to talk about dating in your 60s, dating in the age of 60 or beyond, and just my experience, some feedback I've gotten from some other people, and would love to hear your comments on it. And I want to start out again. Yes, I'm in my 60s. I'm the age of 60 something. No, I am 64. Never been married. No children. For a while, I was feeling kind of about that. But again, I welcome God's plan, God's purpose. And I'm still believing for my God ordained husband. But until he arrives, I'm going to live life. I'm going to serve. I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to prosper in life. And that's what I'm believing, and that's what I'm walking. That's the walk. But again, for tonight's subject, dating in your 60s. And what prompted me to really do this video, I was having a conversation with someone the other night, and I told them I just started a YouTube channel, and I told them I was primarily, wanted to focus on women in the 60s because I'm a woman and I'm in my 60s. And we got on the topic of dating. And I forget how old she was in. I think she may have been maybe approaching 40. And she was talking about some of the various dates, that she had or various men she had met. And that she actually had met a gentleman who was either 60 or he might have been over the age of 60, or he might have been over the age of 60. So again, I'm not judging. First of all, let me tell you, I'm not judging anybody. I don't have room to judge anybody. I'm just sharing, okay? I'm just sharing information. I don't have no room to condemn anybody or judge you for what you do, what you choose to do, what you like to do, okay? Let's make that clear. But she had met this gentleman, and they were just talking, and I don't know if she asked him about dating within his age group, because again, he was 60 or older. And I want to look at my notes, so I got to grab my glasses because I didn't want to miss, and they are really dirty. I didn't want to miss a few points. So one of the items that he stated was that women in their 60s, again, this is not my opinion. This is not what I'm saying. This is really hearsay that I'm sharing with you. He said the women in the 60s were set in their ways. So from that, I'm taking to say, he meant, they're set in their ways. They're not trying to compromise about anything. They're not trying to maybe welcome someone else's idea of things they might enjoy doing. Again, I don't know. I didn't have the conversation with this gentleman, but that was his statement. They are set in their ways. I guess primarily he's looked at, they've lived their life, what have you, whether they've had kids, maybe they've been married previously. I don't know, but they were just set in their ways. This is how they've done things, and this is how they will continue to do things the rest of their lives. He also stated that some of the women he met that were in their 60s presented a lot of demands upon him. It was like, as soon as he met them, they came with their own set of demands, their own set of rules. This is what you're going to do. This is how I want you to do it. This is how I prefer men to do it. This is what you're going to pay for. This is how much money you got to have. Boom, boom, boom. Just demands. And I will say that I met someone who was over the age of 60, and I think he was talking about some of the women he had met online, just meeting on some of the online dating platforms. And that was kind of a common theme with him too. They even because they hadn't physically met, so they're just like, yeah, I guess doing the online communication, that they came presenting a list of demands. So again, I'm not judging. And back to the first gentleman, he mentioned to my friend that, a woman at the age of 60 or above, you would think that at that point, either if they wanted to be married or desire to be married, or, at that age, you may in fact be a mother or possibly a grandmother, but that when he would go and meet them or, to take them out or what have you, that they would kind of dress like they wanted to go to the club. Again, I didn't have the conversation with him, so this is hearsay. So what I want to say, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experience in the dating pool, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I haven't done a whole lot of dating in my 60s. I will present a story, and I think in one of my videos, I think the video I recorded about when I turned 60, that was just going into COVID. But there was someone that I had been communicating with, dating per se, off and on. I would say maybe as I approached 60, maybe off and on 2 and 3 years. So at that point, it was off and on. I think when we started out, we had a good rhythm. And there was some red flags that I probably ignored that I shouldn't have, but I did. And so we would date. We would either go out and have a nice dinner or what have you. And then I wouldn't hear from him for, I don't know, a month, several weeks. And when you take me there, sometimes I feel like I've been friend zoned, like you're not really serious. You're like, okay, let's just hang out and we'll just talk, we'll just do dinner, what have you. And that's kind of the way I approached it, so I'm like, okay, he disappeared. When we would pick back up, I wouldn't be judging. I wouldn't be like, where you been? What's going on with you? If it's like, you want to get together for dinner? Sure, let's do it. And we proceeded to go in that fashion. Well, approaching my 60th birthday, we had gotten to a better rhythm. We were communicating. We were having some next level conversations. We may have talked a little bit about marriage, but we never talked, say, specifically about things of marriage. But I could tell in the conversations, they had shifted and they were going in a different direction. Fast forward, the conversations elevated. And then they got to the point of not necessarily, I want to marry you, but in marriages, do you believe X, Y, Z? Or let's talk about marriage level things like financing, your belief system, what you have to offer. In other words, what do you believe you bring to the relationship? Which, I think those are really valid questions and interesting questions, because those things you kind of want to know if you're having that next level thought about marriage. So those conversations continued, and I'm like, okay, this thing is really shifting. And I will say, now this happened after my 60th birthday. We had went into COVID, so dating and COVID, that was deep. You did really some more, FaceTime conversations or telephone conversations. So almost dating during COVID was probably one of the periods of time where I would say you probably really got to know someone very well, because if you got into that deep level of conversation, you were going to learn a lot about each other. So I'm gonna say probably maybe August. I want to say it was August 2020. I was proposed to, and I accepted, and I was excited. But his level of excitement probably exceeded mine, which I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like I had to really check myself, like, okay, are you really sure about this? And so I was excited, but still there was something in me that was just kind of, I don't know, I just had an uneasy feeling about it. But I said, okay, let's pray our way through it, because it was one thing that my bishop, I will always remember something he said. And it wasn't necessarily talking about marriage, but it was just talking about life in general. And he stated that when God chooses to bless you or blesses you with something, that the enemy will immediately come and attach a burden to it, such that you don't even recognize it as a blessing, because he has burdened that thing. So that thing just kind of stuck with me. And I said, okay, so I'm just like praying my way through it, and I'm like, God, is this what you're ordaining for my life right now? Is this the man you have for me? And so during the course of that, I will say now, it was a short engagement, our conversations shifted. And it shifted in a way where those things where I was previously allowed to bring feedback or share my opinion on, it was kind of shut down immediately. Even when it came to talk about the engagement and, possible either dates for marriage, venues, anything like that, he always put forth his opinion, and it was like his opinion was, I guess I want to use the word controlling. I guess the word was controlling. And so I immediately, it was just something that just wasn't feeling right. And then historically, from some of the previous dating era, where there would be conversations, then he would just kind of disappear. That started happening. And I'm like, you know what? And then it got to the point where when we were together, or, again, this is during COVID, so when we took time together or had time together or what have you, somehow or another, everything ended up in an argument. Everything ended up in an argument. And so again, I tell you, he would disappear a little bit. So during one of these courses of when he disappeared, he, would call or what have you. When he called, I'm like, oh, how you doing? And then that one question, how you doing, ended up in the biggest argument. And I finally had enough. And I said, you know what? I thank you. I care about you. I love you. I don't think this is going to work. So, yeah, so in my 60s, I just turned 60. Then COVID hit. Then I was proposed to. And then I had a broken engagement. So that was a year. So all that to say that now that I'm in my 60s, and that was my prelude going into 60s, that my dating in the 60s, I had a short where I said this: I am intentional about dating in the 60s. And when I say intentional, I mean just that very word. I date with intention. I know what I have in my heart. I know what I have to share. I know what my strengths are. I know what my weaknesses are. Now, I can work on my vulnerability. Yeah, I can work on my vulnerability. So I'm asking God to coach me through that process. But I'm dating with intention, and Again, I can't judge you, I can't instruct you, and I'm not even trying to give you advice. I'm just telling you about my life and what I'm doing in regards to dating. Online dating, I dabbled with that some in my past prior to 60. Met some interesting people. Um, Met some very nice people. Met some people that were nice, but you could kind of tell after you met them that maybe they kind of misrepresented themselves a little bit on their profile. So I just say use wisdom, use caution, use discernment, and use wisdom with online dating. But all that to say, I met someone. I met someone. He's a really nice guy, and yeah. So we're gonna see where it goes. But to each his own. Again, I'm not giving you any kind of advice, and I'm not even telling you what to do. I'm just sharing my experience thus far dating in my 60s. So, what's your story? I hope this blesses you in some shape, form, or fashion. But if anything, I will say, open your heart up. If you're 60, if you're single, and that's something you're interested in, you may be totally satisfied where you are, and that is all good. But if it's something you want to really look into and you're interested in, then I would just say, open your heart, ask God to guide you, use wisdom, but open your heart and be free to the experience. I believe it is some awesome men out here, whether you prefer men that are in their 60s, men your own age, men a little younger, what have you. I believe there are some awesome men out here. So I would say don't close your heart, don't close your mind to it. I don't know what your experience may have been in the past. You may be like me, single, never married. You may be divorced, you may be widowed. But again, if love is something that you are really interested in a relationship, if you want to be married again, or you just want to have a special companion, then be open to it. Open your heart to it and trust God. So I hope this blesses you. Again, share, like, subscribe. More to come. Be blessed.